A very warm good morning, dear students. Dear students, we are just dealing with a chapter called Leonardo da Vinci. I think we had completed on page number 162. We had completed, and we were on page number 163. And this is actually a chapter is given for you to do some exercise. This is the unseen passage. Okay, this is an example for unseen passage. You can just go through this, and you can see he loved every crawling, creeping, or flying. Sorry, before that we will start with the first page number 163. First paragraph onwards we will start. All things in nature that Leonardo wanted to know. Then, when the sun began to sink, he would turn sadly homewards, very hungry, with the awfully soiled clothes and tired feet, but with a heap of joy in his heart. He loved every crawling, creeping, or flying thing, however ugly. Curious beasts which might have frightened another child were to him charming and interesting. In the lap of the Rachel, as he listened to the singing of the birds and bent his head to catch the gurgling of the mountain streams, the love of music began to grow ever stronger in his heart. You know that he was loving all the things, whom now the things which others were hating, that also he loved. That was the love for uh, him, no, the love of Leonardo da Vinci for the creatures. So he was loving the animals, birds, and also the what we can say the trees and other creatures. He did not rest then. He managed to get a lute and learned how to play upon it. And when he had mastered the notes and learned the rules of music, he began to play pieces which no one had ever heard before, and to sing such sweet songs that the notes flowed out as fresh and clear as the song of a lark in the early morning of spring. So he used to sing. Okay, Leonardo da Vinci, what we can see here, and he used to sing such sweet songs that the notes flowed out as fresh and clear as the song of a lark in the early morning of spring. So it was just, the what we can say, the song was just flowing. The child is bewitched. So actually, we then some of them used to say, the neighbors and some, they used to say that this child is having some serious problems. The child is bewitched, some said. As I saw Liano tenderly lift a dead lizard in his hand. So he had a great compassion for the creatures, especially the small creatures and so on. So he was just taking the lizards in his hand, or watched him play with a spotted snake or a great hairy spider with a long spindly legs. No, he used to take all these things and watch the play of a spotted snake or a great hairy spider with a long spindly legs. So he used to take all these things. Maybe he is, and said others, but he sure has the voice of an angel. Anyway, some of them used to tell that some positive comments about him, that he is having a voice of an angel. For everyone stopped to listen when the boy's voice was heard singing through the streets of the little town. He was a puzzle to everyone. So it was a big question or a big puzzle to everyone. He was a very big puzzle to everyone. Little did they know then that this strange child was destined to be one of the greatest painter, sculptor, architect, musician, scientist, mathematician, engineer, inventor, and anatomist, geologist, cartograph, botanist, and writer of the world has ever known. So this is the excerpt. You can say that is something is adapted. No, then about the life of Leonardo da Vinci. You can see answer the following question. These things you can do by yourself. Actually, it's for you only, and you can do by yourself. Um, so you can find out underline the main verb. The next question, exercise B, that is underline the main verb in each of the sentences below and identify the subject. So main verb. So you can see on the sunny slopes of Mount Albano between Florence and Pisa, the town of Vinci lay high among the rocks that crowned the steep hillside. So you can just find out, okay, main verb, and also you can you can just find out the subject also. It is always confusing, and at the same time you can just find it out. So we'll just go for the C. That is an exercise for you. Okay, you can do by yourself. Of course, I will be giving the answers to you. Okay, in the form of you can see, you can just take in the form of a PDF. You can take it, but you see the answers. Okay. Then replace the italics words in the sentence below with appropriate synonyms and rewrite the sentences. There was a charm about his smile which no one could resist. So what will be the answer? I think you can, instead of charm, that you know, you need to write, you can write appeal, there is no problem. There was appeal about his smile which no one could resist. Or a second one, but Leonardo detested those lessons and refused to learn. So when he was 7 years old, he was sent to school. Detested. You can just write there instead of detest, what you will write? Hated. You can write. There is no problem. I think you can write hated also. Okay. Then we watched as hated. No, you can write. He watched a spider weave its web, enthralled by how the delicate threads were turned in and out. So I think this is enthralled, no? So he was fascinated by, or you can write that captivated, captivated, attracted. This is fascinated or attracted only. This is enthralled by means captivated or fascinated or attracted. Anything you can write. So that is what you can mainly you can go for the word correctly. You can write captivated. You can write captivated. Now curious beats which might have frightened another child were to him charming and interesting. So what is the word? Frightened and no? Curious beats which might have, instead of frightened, what you can write? Scared. Scared you can write, no? You can write scared. Curious beats which might have scared another child were to him charming and interesting. Were to him charming and interesting. Now, the child is bewitched, some said, as they so Leonardo tenderly lifted a dead lizard in his hand. That means a beagled, you can write beagled, no? Beguiled. Beagled. Okay, can write. So and then rewrite the following paragraph in your notebook by changing the tense of the verbs to simple present. Those things you can do, First, for example, Leonardo detested, simple present only. Simple present in the sense you can Leonardo detest those lessons and refuse to learn. You can write simple things only. You can write by yourself. Next one, exercise E. Identify the part of speech of the italics to words in the sentence below and write them in the blanks below. He had the most, what is that? Most hardware, you can most wonderful waving hair, falling in ripples like the waters of a fountain, the color of bright gold and soft as spun silk. Okay. So that means the most will be adverb, and the color will be color of bright, no? What that will be? Color, no? Color, the color of bright gold, bright color is also an adjective that can say. He did not rest until he managed to get a lute and learned how to play upon it. Also, upon it, that is also a kind of preposition we can say. Until that is a kind of conjunction we can say. He was sure that simply by watching them patiently, hard work, surely hard work, he would learn it. Now underline the non-finite verbs in the sentence below and identify their type. He had the most wonderful hair, falling in ripples like the waters of a fountain. So for non-finite verbs, that is the falling participle, not falling. Then, when his father, Sir Piero, returned to Vinci, right, to Vinci, he began to give infinitive to Vinci, to Vinci, not to be, to give infinitively are not lessons. When he saw them tear the wings of butterflies, his face grew white with pain. So that is no bare infinitive we can say tear, no bare infinitive we can say. 4 hours he would lie tear, no bare infinitive. 4 hours he would lie perfectly still as he watched a spider weave its web. Weave also is a bare infinitive we can say. Weave, no, W-E-A-V-E, weave, that is also a bare infinitive. Then when the sun began to sink, he would turn sadly homewards. Okay, so you can see that also. Yes, you can just see that also. Now, let us continue. So punctuate the following excerpt from the story without referring to the story, and then compare your punctuation with that used in the story. Don't forget to capitalize the appropriate words, so that you can do by yourself. Let's move to the next chapter, that is Mother Hill. And see, this also okay, an unseen passage is given to you. You can just read it and you can understand it. Okay, so let us see that. Read the text below and answer these questions that follow. These are also some smallest question only, small chapter can do by. It was hard to realize that I have been here all these years, 25 summers, winters and Himalayan springs. When I look back to the time of my first coming here, it does seem like yesterday. Okay, you see that it is speaking something about Mother Hill, Himalayan mountains and so on, you see. So it is the author is just speaking about that, and when he just looked back to the time of his first coming of Himalayan springs, it is always there in the mind of the author. You see, it does seem like it's written by Ruskin Bond only. So you can see that it does seem like yesterday. So these memories are just remaining in the mind of the author, just like yesterday. So just yesterday it happened. It seems like that for him. That probably sums it all up. Time passes, and yet it doesn't pass. So this, that these memories which are always very much interesting, those will not go away from our mind. It will be always there in our hearts. So that is something which will be remaining always in our mind. So people come and go, that people come and go, the mountains always remain. There is no change for the mountains that will be there. People will be coming and they will be going, but the mountain has got no change. Mountains are permanent things, so they are permanent. They are stubborn, they refuse to move, they don't move at all. You can blast holes out of them for their mineral wealth, strip them of their strip them of their trees and foliage, or dam their streams and divert their currents. You can make tunnels and roads and bridges through that, no. But no matter how hard you try, humans cannot actually get rid of the mountains. There is no way for the human beings to get rid of the mountain. There is no way. That's what I like about them. They are here to stay. They are always here to stay. I like to think that I have become a part of the mountains. So the author is just thinking that he has also become the part of the mountains, and that by living here so far so long, I am able to claim a relationship with the trees, wildflowers, and even the rocks that are an integral part of it. Yesterday at twilight, I put out my hand and touched the bark of an old tree, and as I turned, its leaves brushed against my face as if to acknowledge me. One day I thought, if we trouble these great creatures too much and bite away at them and destroy them, they will simply uproot themselves and march away. Far from the haunts of the man, I have seen many forests and green places dwindle and disappear. Now there is an outcry. It is suddenly fashionable to be an environment to be an environmentalist. That's all right. Perhaps it's not too late to save the little that is left. So actually, that is also there. Answer the following question. The author talks about his long relation with the hills because he visited the hills every day, was an environmentalist, lived in the hills, was working in the hills. You can just find out those answers. Okay, so tick. You need to just tick only. So you will do it. This is homework I am giving to you. We will just see fill in the blanks in the sentence below by choosing the appropriate word from those given in the box. You see, an actor's, which are the words given there? An actor's popularity sometimes, what you can write? Dwindle, no? Dwindle. Dwindle. You can say dwindle means shrink as they grows older. So as the actor's popularity sometimes, in the emerging time, sometimes the popularity of the actor will be very high, dwindle. So sometimes that will be after as they grow, sometime it may be shortening, not dwindling. I think my flower arrangement needs more. What we can write there? Foliage. Foliage you can write. I think my flower arrangement needs more foliage. Leaves. This is a poem about birds returning to their nest at twilight. Twilight you can write. Twilight. He always came across as cold, as if he had. So what you can write? As if he had. What you can write there? As if he had. What is the word that you can use there? The word you can use there. He always came across as cold as if we had. As if he had divert. What do we can say? So that you can write damned, okay, damned up all the feelings inside himself. Then I was glad to renew my acquaintance, no, with my old classmates. Then see then other literacy programs being run by the government are what we can say integral to their policy on education. She is so stubborn. She is so stubborn that even when she knows that the other person is right, she goes ahead and does her own thing. The old house still haunts me. HIUNDC haunts me. The old man could hack a tree down at the age of 80. Due to blockage on Marion Street, traffic is being diverted through Bell Road and around Arthur Square. Okay, this is actually the chart trees. Underline the dependent clause and in each sentence and identify the subordinating conjunction used. It was so hard to realize that I have been here all these years. Hmm? So then, when I look back to the time of my first coming here, it does seem like yesterday. When I look back, that is a subordinate clause, no? When I look back to